What is up, guys? It is Take a Luke here, bringing you really a reaction video, like a thought video. So basically, Brock Lesnar has been announced to be going back to UFC, believe it or not, for a one-off appearance, basically. And this all came about really fast. I didn't actually know about it until last night. I checked Twitter. I'm a football fan, so I fucking, I was wanting all to see all this Vardy news about Arsenal and all that kind of palaver. So I'll go on Twitter, see what's up, and I see Brock Lesnar trending. I click on that, and I basically see that he's headed to UFC. Now, a lot of people were saying, a lot of questions are unanswered, a lot of crazy things that have gone on in the last 24 hours that have kind of made people think a bit like, what the fuck? And, is Lesnar leaving for good? Does this mean he's going back to, does this mean he's going back to WWE and all this, bollocks, sorry, UFC and all this palaver? And really, where does this leave the whole Brock Lesnar thing and things like that? So just a little bit of backstory. For those of you that don't know, I'll quickly fill you in on the whole story. Brock Lesnar left WWE in 2004, citing that the style, the travel, and all this kind of stuff wasn't for him. He then had a no compete clause in his in his WWE contract for quite a few years. They went to court. It was settled in 2006. I think he went to New Japan for about a year. Then in like 2008, he turned up to the UFC, completely dominated that sport. In between, actually coming down with bouts of what I believe was diverticulitis, but oh god, it was life threatening at some point. Lesnar retired from MMA in, I think, late 2011, simply because his health issues were getting the better of him, quite frankly, and it took a lot for him to get over them, and I don't really know if he is over them, but it's crazy. Lesnar, he won the UFC title quite a lot. I think he only lost like literally maybe 4, if that. And I don't know what the hell is going on, but all this came about rather quickly. So I will just give you my thoughts and opinions on it, as well as reading some of my notes that I've got here from various different sources, and tell you guys exactly what is going on. So basically, WWE commented on this. I suppose they were forced to comment on this earlier on today. They said, and I quote, "Brock Lesnar remains under a contract to WWE. However, he has been granted a one-off opportunity to compete at UFC 200. Following this milestone event on July 9th, Brock will return to WWE on SummerSlam on Sunday the 21st of August, live on the WWE Network." So 2 questions that have been answered there. First of all, is that Brock Lesnar isn't expected to be at any pay-per-view, or maybe not even a Raw show until like SummerSlam. I'm pretty much suggesting that he'll probably be on a few Raw shows before then, but he won't be on WWE TV until SummerSlam. A break from WrestleMania literally to SummerSlam is quite a big deal if you think about it. I mean, again, that's like what, April more or less, May, June, July, August. That's like a 5-month break in between appearances. The main reason why I think Brock Lesnar is heading back to UFC at this point is WWE must seriously be interested in the star power that is Ronda Rousey. That could be the only reason I could see for this happening. I think it is purely to get WWE Ronda Rousey for next year's WrestleMania. I think this has been in the works for quite some time. literally Brock Lesnar is the only name that can, in terms of star power, that can translate from the UFC world into the WWE world and vice versa. Brock Lesnar is probably the only guy that UFC would be interested in having over from WWE to even, you know, consequent one night only trade, which again WWE will probably take when they get Ronda Rousey in for the next WrestleMania. It's a shame, in my opinion, that they couldn't do this earlier on. I mean, look, Vince McMahon's a businessman. Okay, he's a bit out of touch. Don't get me wrong. Like, I think that anyway. I believe that. But when you have Dana White, he is the quintessential businessman. Like, literally, he knows that WWE have wanted Ronda Rousey for the longest time, and you know, more to the point, Ronda Rousey has wanted Ronda Rousey to be in WWE, or at least in some capacity. You know, I don't know whether the WrestleMania, I think obviously the WrestleMania appearance had to be known about at 31, but it just seems like, you know, this could end, you know, I'm a bit of a pessimist by nature, and I really think this could end really badly for all parties involved, simply because Ronda Rousey, I don't think she's been seen anywhere near it, UFC Octagon. I was going to say ring, but UFC Octagon since she lost to Holly Holm. Brock Lesnar, you know, he's a fucking animal. He's a beast. Everybody knows that. He's a legit bad man, but you can't help but think the perception of Lesnar, if he goes back to UFC this July at UFC 200 and gets fucked up in 30 seconds or one round or even two, like, I mean, okay, if he loses after, like, I don't know, 3-4 rounds, whatever, then fair enough, but it's still going to damage the mystique of Brock Lesnar. You're basically having a WWE guy fight in UFC. That is the first time this has happened. And, you know, for the UFC fans that say, oh, Brock Lesnar was UFC when UFC wasn't even a thing, you're right. But Brock Lesnar was WWE before UFC was even thought about being a thing. Brock Lesnar was in WWE in 2002. So you essentially got a made WWE guy, you know, heading to UFC. And a lot of people say, oh, well, Brock Lesnar's only like this now because, you know, he's only the megastar he is now because of UFC. And that in a way is true. It's a little bit true, you know. It's a bit of hit and miss. But here is the real deal with this. WWE pushed Lesnar. He had not only one rocket up his ass, he had fucking 2 rockets up his ass and 2 in his hands. Like, fucking, oh, that sounded really wrong, but you get the point. Like, basically, if the guy was pushed to the moon, he was pushed to the moon and back. He had a rocket strapped to him, bruv, from the fucking get-go. This guy debuted after WrestleMania X18 and fucking, you know, WrestleMania X8 rather, and destroyed about fucking 5-6 people at a time, killed the Hardy Boys, fucking killed The Rock, and then went on to feud with The Undertaker, and he won the Royal Rumble. He was only in one Royal Rumble and he won it. Legit. And along with that, you got Goldberg appearing in the game. And come on, guys, if you've seen the trailer already, Goldberg's coming back for one more WrestleMania match. You know that. Just like Sting, and he's probably going to face Lesnar. My view on this, though, is that if Lesnar loses, all the mystique and all the, you know, unbeatable kind of persona you built around Lesnar for the last, say, 2.5 years since he ended the streak would disappear in just one night. And again, if WWE would have actually booked Lesnar properly, have him beat John Cena, have him beat Triple H, or even if you're going to have him lose to Triple H, I'm not saying that's fair enough, but you got to have him win his first return fight. Lesnar could have even been an even bigger deal than what he is right now. But it is what it is. It's simply to get Ronda Rousey into WrestleMania 33. It can't be for anything else than that. What possibly could WWE have to gain from sending Lesnar to UFC? And it's not going to happen because WWE have already announced that Lesnar's returning for SummerSlam in kind of a shoot release statement if you believe that. But wouldn't it be weird if Lesnar won the title before UFC 200 and walked into the octagon as the WWE champion? I think that would be amazing. Finally, Dana White and Vince McMahon have seemed to realize that these are two different sports. They're not in direct competition with each other. It's hardly like Lesnar's going to fucking turn up to TNA to squash. I don't even know who the main eventer is over there anymore. I really don't, but it can be really good. If Lesnar wins this UFC match, he'll always be known as the WWE guy that fucks people up in UFC while under contract with WWE. However, if he loses, he'll always be known as the fake WWE wrestler that couldn't quite cut it when he returned to UFC. I don't know. That's my opinion. Anyway, guys, those are the brief stories heading out from that. It's a weird one. And to think all of this has happened, we're almost 2 years on. This November, we will almost be 2 years. Well, we will be 2 years on from when CM Punk left WWE. Well, we're more than 2 years on for that. But when CM Punk signed, from fucking to UFC, and in that time, we've had Lesnar retain the belt at the Royal Rumble, lose it at Mania, fucking have a whole feud with The Undertaker, and then fucking return to UFC, all before CM Punk's had his first fight. Good God, man. Look, if I was CM Punk, yeah, and this ain't going to turn into a whole CM Punk video, but I'm just going to say this before I end the video. If I was CM Punk and I see UFC trying to bring back in Brock Lesnar, that's me kind of thinking, yo, these guys don't see me as a big deal anymore. I don't know. Is CM Punk even going to fight anymore? Do people even know that? That's the general consensus. I don't know, guys. But anyway, that was my brief thoughts. I'll do a more in-depth video on it at some point later on. But those were my brief thoughts on the whole thing. It's surely only going to be simply so they can get Ronda Rousey, right? It's not going to be anything else. The one thing that could come out of it is if Brock wins, he could get the itch. And the next time his WWE contract expires, he could possibly go back to UFC. Hell, he's a little bit too old now. Like last year before WrestleMania, his contract was expiring and people said he thought they were going to go back to UFC. He said he was a bit too old. But a year and a bit later, here we are. Lesnar's returning at UFC 200. And do you know what? Admittedly, I've not brought a UFC event in my life because I don't really know where to buy UFC events like on pay-per-view in the UK. And to be honest, I've never really been that interested in it. But I believe I will be buying UFC 200 if it's not too expensive. Let's just put it that way. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for those of you that have tuned into this. I don't know, is it a live stream? Is it a video? I don't really know. It's just easier to record face cam videos like this. Anyway, guys, until next time, peace.